Hi, welcome back to our show.
All right.
And today we're talking about community. We are talking about how community can benefit your relationship. I wanted to be
I'm not saying anything on purpose.
I know, I can tell. I wanted to be the narcissist and be like, how community can benefit or destroy your relationship.
First of all, what is community?
Community. Well, we didn't go with that because I actually asked the question. I was like, wait, what exactly are we talking about? What is community? So community, I feel like what we want to talk about today is a group of people who have common, similar interests and goals.
Mm-hmm.
A group of people that you can grow with, learn with, and almost like a service, like a way that you can give back or be a part of humanity in some kind of way.
And why is community important? I guess not just in your relationship, but just in general. Why is community? Why did we make community like one of the five, you know what I'm saying, important things in life?
I think it's important, but also I've also struggled with this part of my life with community. So
right. So community is one of those things that I believe in relationships we sort of tend to neglect, right? We build our fortress, right? We get with our person and say, this is where we reside. A lot of R's and W's. Where we reside. This is where we reside.
Hey, 5 times fast.
I'm not
go.
There. You go.
Where we reside. 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 Where we reside.
What? That then last one even makes sense. So anyway, this is where we reside, and so now you created this sort of like bubble where you go through life in that sort of bubble. And so a lot of us tend to neglect it, but I believe that we are missing out on so much that the world has to offer, right? We get in a relationship and we forget about all the things that we cared about. We forget about all the things that made us or sort of influenced our lives and made us care about certain things. There are 3 important aspects of community, right?
And what they provide
to
an individual
that we sort of came up with.
Yeah.
Social support, increased social activities within your relationship, and also diversity and perspective, which I think is the most important.
Wait, so what kinds of communities are you a part of?
I'm a part of a lot of communities. Do you want me to talk about that right now?
Just list them.
I mean,
a few of them.
I mean, there's like, so I'm in the film and TV. So there's the film and TV side. There's 2 communities in the film and TV side. There's the actor side, and then there's the production side, which is behind the scenes side. So those are 2 whole different communities. I can speak one jargon with my actor friends, and then the production side won't know anything I'm saying, and I can speak on the production side jargon, and actors will be like, "What are you talking about?" So that's like a whole community. And then I have a social justice community. I started this company called Hesitant Heroes, and it's sort of like a media company where we cover a lot of protests.
So do you have a YouTube channel for Hesitant Heroes?
I do. So yeah, I can go check that out. Hesitant Heroes. Trying to give me a plug. Yeah, and then I have my sports community where we go and watch sports. We watch a lot of football. Like, those are important in shaping the type of person you are. And I kind of feel like there's so much that I'm going to gather from those communities that I wouldn't necessarily gather from within just the relationship that I'm in. So
wait, so one thing about communities is that I thought community meant relationships. Now, obviously, they can, and they provide that opportunity to meet new people and create new relationships. I really only had one perspective of it. So if my community wasn't my best friends, basically, and obviously it sounds kind of dumb, but for some reason, I just grew up feeling like if the people that I considered my community were not in part of every other area of my life, or, and I'm just going to say my main community was always church. And in church, we use that word community a lot. And it usually, honestly, it's kind of confusing, but if you grew up in church and you hear that word a lot, I feel like the expectation is that, we're friends, we're close, we love each other, we call each other family. Whereas like if you go to, if I have like my music community, I'm not necessarily calling all of them family and saying I love you to like everybody that I come across with, even though that is my community because I'm in music. So I think in church it gets a little, like the lines are a little blurred. And so I've always been really confused about what community is. And I've been a little just hesitant towards like saying, oh, I want to have community. So when he brought this up, I was like, but why is this important? Like, within the relationship or more so like I've had bad experiences, I feel like, with community. And so the way that we've kind of talked about community and brought this up has opened my eyes to being like, okay, also that creates grace for people because now I don't expect anything from these communities. I just know that we have a similar mindset. We have a similar goal, a similar desire, and we're just giving. It's a place of service, like I said earlier, And so I don't know if anyone needed to hear that, but for me, it was a very weird just concept and conversation that I've just never really had. We just automatically were like community, and no one ever really talked about what it was. So
you're talking a lot about the social support aspect of community. I think when you have or when you're implanted in these communities, I think there's a lot there's a lot that those have to offer to your life. You can go to those social communities for a lot of, emotional support or whatever support, career support, or, and what's the difference between a relationships and a community? There is a difference.
I know I said something earlier. I forgot what I said.
You said something about, well, I know you can have friendships and a community. You said something like that.
First of all,
I'm taking my vitamins right now, y'all. So make sure you take your vitamins.
Really, babe?
You gave it to me right before.
I already took them.
I know, but you took them and then you came. Never mind. I'm taking my vitamins. Take your vitamins.
Take vitamins. What's the difference between community? Well, I think I'm still learning what that is. To be honest, I think I'm understanding that, I think in relationships you have expectations because it's a mutual thing. Sometimes.
So you said you're most familiar with the church community,
yeah,
right? So what is that? What do you get from your church community? I'm really asking, like, what do you get? I'll tell you what I get, because she's going to be thinking about it. So when I go to church, I get so much. I get, first of all, the church community, they're supposed to be, at least, always about giving, about worship, about learning more about God, about having that spiritual connection and love, amongst yourselves, that I wouldn't necessarily get from my film and TV community, right? So why is it important for me to be in a church community? And why, how does that benefit my current relationship? There's a lot of conversations we get to have, and a lot of things that we can relay to each other from the things that we learn. So we become more intellectually knowledgeable and be able to speak in certain ways. That's why another one was the diversity and perspective, because you become so much more diverse in these other areas. Now you can bring this into your relationship, and you have a better understanding of how to communicate, how to handle situations. And all of this, I think, is something that, man, we neglected a lot. And I think it's one of those really, really important things that we, that can support us in many ways than not. And it, help me out. I don't know what
I'll say this. Listen, to answer your question you asked me.
Oh, right. You finally.
I feel like we could have a whole conversation about church, because, but.
Oh, so wait. So when I asked you, what is?
Yeah, it was just coming up. A lot of things were coming up, and I don't know how to answer them at the time.
The good things. I'm talking about the good.
I know, but I have to be honest. Liverpool about.
Has that affected us, and can it affect us?
What, my experience?
The negative part, because we also talked about relationships in the past where certain relationships can affect. Go back to was it last video? A few videos ago. Yeah. About how I think I could put a link. I could put a link.
Yeah, you can.
I'll put a link I'll put a link one of these there.
Up there.
It'll be one of these. Y'all looking at it right now, so click it. So we talked about relationships where other, being in those relationships and the things that you're consuming from these relationships can affect your relationship. So when we talk about community, it's more of what you're gaining
or giving.
Gaining by giving. Yeah. Good one. You just thought of it. In this particular community, before a lot of you know about what happened with George Floyd and Black Lives Matter protests and all that. Before that all happened, I was the type of person in the past, would be like, man, that sucks, and then sort of go on with my life. But there was some sort of growth process that I went through that taught me what love and intimacy and vulnerability and all these things meant, which created more empathy for me. And because of that, is why I started Hesitant Heroes, and I met all of these amazing community organizers and activists. And that's a community where I've learned so much about government. I've learned so much about coalitions and creating change in local government. If some people even wanted me to run for office and other people running for office. And that was a community where, I think it sort of taught me so much about just the world around us and about the laws that are passed and why they're passed and how that affects us. And I think all of that is so important for not just your life, but then, it just brings that perspective and brings that diversity into your own relationship.
Yes.
Is that?
Well,
you're going to.
Yes. I haven't finished my church thought yet.
Oh, sorry. Go church.
But yeah, that's really good.
I wanted to add to it, but anyway.
So, okay. I feel like this is another conversation we can definitely have, because I'm, yeah. But I will say, specifically about these, maybe it's all community spaces, where there's a point where you go to get something, you go to create relationships, you go to, get something. Church is very obvious, you go because you feel like you need God, or maybe a lot of reason that people go to church sometimes is because something, life isn't going the way they want, so they want to go uplift their faith and things like that. I think what happens in community is that there's a shift. At some point, you are going to get something, but at some point it shifts where you are going to give something. Right?
I'm trying to, what? Huh?
So let's just use church as an example.
Okay.
I think a lot of times where I experience a lot of church hurt is because I was going to church to get something for way too long. I had outgrown what I needed from them. Does that make sense?
No.
And I never switched to giving.
Because you're saying from them.
Yeah, from church, from the people in my church that I knew.
Right. So I always make the distinction about what community is. I don't believe community is a person or persons. I think it's an idea. It's a gathering of an idea and a goal and a vision.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So you initially go to those places because you feel like you want something from them, from that place, right? You go to church because you want to learn more about God, and these people can provide that for you.
I mean, I think this is where your thing about giving comes into play, because I think most people who want to join a community or become a part of a community, let's say film and television, it's because you love to do film and television, or you want to go and protest and be an activist, is because you want to see change. And so if you're going to church because you want to get something, then automatically now, okay, well, that's not what I'm trying to. People go to church or they want to become a part of a church community because they love God. They love the idea.
At some point, I think in every community space, there gets to be that point of growth where you start to give back, and you get to give what you've learned. You know what I'm saying? Like you get to almost mentor or just teach things
outside of the community,
within or outside. Either way, you get to kind of create your own community. I think that's what. Am I gonna go there? I feel like that's what church is. That's what. I'm sorry, I'm getting too into this church stuff. I did not plan to do this. But
my whole thing is like you go into it with the spirit of giving in the first place, because I love, like, if you love bowling, I guarantee you there's a bowling community that's going to tell you everything about bowling, what weight of what ball you should buy, where you should get the ball. It might be a Twitter community. Like I have a political Twitter community that we only converse through Twitter and social media. There might be like this a bunch of YouTube pages. They know the best balls to buy, where to buy them, how to make it
Let
spin.
me put it like this.
So you love to do that. So then you go with the bowling.
Let me put
the church thing got her hurt. So she's like,
no, let me put it like this. To add on to what you're saying,
okay.
Let me put it like this. I think community is either you go into it needing something, but I think it is important that at some point you shift that mentality and make sure you're intentional about giving, or you just go into it giving. I don't think there's ever a point where you should just stay as a taker.
I don't even think it's about giving and taking. I think it's about love. I think it's about the thing that you, not just love, but the thing that you find interest in. The thing you're looking at me.
But the thing is, babe,
we're talking about. I know you're like.
I know.
No,
I'm trying to keep in mind everything.
Okay, go ahead.
Even although that sounds really good, within any community, if I want to join a basketball community,
mm-hmm.
I'm going because I want something. I want to play basketball.
Right.
So that's taking. It doesn't always have to be negative. It doesn't have to have a negative connotation.
I feel like when you take, the word take means remove from where it was. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you take something, you remove it from where it once was. And I think if I join a basketball community, I'm not going to take something. I'm going to be a part of something. I'm going to, it's almost hard to be in a community as a taker, because unless you're, do you think you were in the community as a taker? I think unless you're inauthentic,
I think I would.
why? I feel like if you're going to be in a community,
As a partaker. Partake just means like part of it.
I want to go more deep in that. That sounds like something a pastor would say. You don't want to be a taker, but you can be a partaker. No?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
No, actually, that's.
But what I mean is like, so I want to get back into what community means and why.
Sorry, I took this
and why it's important. We also didn't talk about the other aspect of community, which is the increased social activities, right? Her and I, we have friends. We do like a friends thing every once a month. Mm-hmm. That can go into relationship, but that's a community of, I mean, I guess all those people are church people. Are your people in church? It's funny because when I invite people, they're like from everywhere, all over the place. She's got a lot of church friends.
Clearly, I've only been a part of basically one community my whole life.
Right. So that's why I want to sort of broaden this out a little bit.
And that's been really good for me.
What?
To broaden my community and my experience with people.
Right. So I have a community where we do like the crazy hikes, right? And we do like a few a year. I learned so much about the outdoors, the kind of shoes to wear, what to do if I were in some sort of, danger. Or I want to bring it back to a place where we're talking about community as a place of learning, getting perspective, bringing back diversity, learning more for yourself, learning how to handle different things, so that not only you can, have that diversity in your relationship, but also so you can have another community outside of just your relationship. Jasmine it's impossible for me to ask, and it's impossible and unfair for me to ask Jasmine to give me everything that I need in the spectrum of things that other people can provide me, right? There are certain things that she can provide me. There are certain things that only she can provide me. But there are so many things that it's not her responsibility to provide for me, and vice versa. So I think it's important for me to have the community to release, to learn, to be free, to know more about. And it has nothing to do with my, your intimate relationship. It has to do with just your life and how you're growing and the person you're becoming and what you have to give to the world and what you want to share with the world and what you would like to partake in with the world. So I think all of those things are the areas that a lot of us we just neglect it. We just say, long as I got my relationship, I'm healthy, I'm making money, I'm good.
Work is also a community.
Work community. I mean, depend. There can be kinds of work community. They have cliques. We have our gym community. We do CrossFit. Some of CrossFit folks could be like cliquey. It can be a little culty. But that's what I mean. It's important to have that, and then you can share that with your person.
Maybe the communities that you've been a part of, you're realizing now as you've grown a little bit, you're like, maybe, I don't necessarily agree with these things anymore, or maybe the interests have changed, or maybe they're just a little bit more negative than you need in your life right now. So you're kind of wondering, how do I create a new community? And obviously, I think it's easy in a relationship to be like, well, I have someone, so at least I'm not alone. So now I don't really need to build this community because, I'm good right here. I have my dog. I have my fiance. Like, I could just chill right here. And sometimes that's how I want to be honest.
Well, I think a lot of people get stuck in that place, right? You actually want your person to be doing their thing, having fun, being in their community, experiencing something outside of your own of this, because When they come here, this is something
They have
completely
so much
different.
more to provide.
Right. And you're right. They can provide a lot more. This is another kind of environment where they're able to like, there's so much that I think you get that can relieve stress, that can bring so much joy into your world that you didn't even have to a lot of us go to work, we come back home all stressed out and stuff. Like, imagine like, instead of, you come from work, you got your chess community, you go play chess with your homies, you doing whatever.
Or your knitting friend.
Or your knitting friends, whatever, you go do that. And then you're like, you're done. And now you feel happy. You hung out with your friends playing chess. You come home with that beautiful energy of like, I had a great time playing my chess buddy.
I'm excited this year to view community that way. I'm excited to be a part of old communities or, find new communities and be a partaker and see the beauty in it, as opposed to coming in with expectations, I guess, or whatever.
I mean, the point of community is you're in it because that's something you're interested in. I feel like if I were to go into, if I were to go into, because it is.
I know, but it feels so complicated for me.
That's because you said you've only been in one community. So she's been living under a rock, as we can see. But if I were to go and try to join some sort of knitting thing, I'm going to be miserable because I don't want to knit. And I'm going to be against everybody there. And I'm going to be bored. But why would I join in the first place?
Here's a question. Should your partner try to be a part of the communities that you're in?
Try? I mean, I don't think so. I think if it's a shared interest, if it's a shared community, I don't think there's a problem with it.
Maybe like experience it once or twice.
Want to do that? I don't understand the question.
I'm saying like if I'm a part of something that I really enjoy, should I be like, hey, come? And you're like, I don't really like that. Would you still do it? Maybe once or twice?
Yeah, of course. I mean, just try it out. Just to like, please just say, okay, fine, I'll do it. But you don't join the community.
Okay, but you'll not have the attitude. I've seen that before where you really don't want to do something, but when you're there, you're like, okay, I don't want to be here, but I'm here, so let me just have a good time.
Right. I think it's important to, if you make the decision to do something, you don't like go into it with a mindset of like, I want to do this and like, be like, then don't go, then don't be there.
That's important.
If you say you're going to do it, then be open to the possibilities that it might be great, and you might learn some things and you might have a great time. You might meet some people. So I always sort of have that sort of mindset. I don't want to go, but if I'm there, I'm not going to be like, the what's the party pooper.
I'm always on a journey about something, but while I'm on this journey of community, I just, it's important to, I think, obviously we've heard like there's scientific proof of just like physical interaction with human beings is so good for us. Being outside, being in nature, being in the sun, all of those things are really, really good for us. And I think that's what community provides, is those opportunities to have interaction with humans. But there's also community online, which is amazing too, because you get to meet people that you've never met before. I have a lot of that right now on social media with like Latin communities and different things like that, as a singer. So that is a beautiful thing that social media provides to us. And like even this, like even a podcast, right? We are talking to a camera, but we're hoping that the humans on the other side of this will connect with us. And this could be a community of single people in relationships, new relationships, long relationships, where we get to have conversations and talk about things that maybe the people in your personal life, are not talking about or whatever, So there's different ways to have community. And I'm seeing now that it's all very important.
Yeah. I mean,
make sure that the social media doesn't take over the human interaction, because that's super easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously one community, one part that, you know, you just keep over there. But I was going to say, ask any, you know, Black person in the 60s and even now, like how important it is to have, you know, the Black community, like, you know, that's supporting, that's activists out there. And if you know, and if you're like in the LGBT community, how important is it for you to have people, you know, supporting you and making space for you? You know, if you've been dealing with identity your whole life, or, you know, even like, you know, if you're struggling with addiction, whatever it is, like these things are very, very important and they're out there. So it's important, I think, to explore that, experience it, and try to make it a part of your life. Like, subscribe, share,
ask questions. You know, we want to talk about.
Yeah, and if you have, if you know, if you have anything that you want to say, just like leave it in the comments. You know, we're learning like everybody else. We're probably gonna like do some different things, make this more of a variety. You know, we've been talking about ways to not only improve, but just sort of give the show some
more value.
Yeah, give more value to our audience. But yeah, so that's what this is what show 6 or 7. Oh, one of those.
7.
Oh, really? I think 6.
Good job.
Anyway, all right.
Alrighty. Till next time.
Peace out.